Imagine waking up early one morning and you see on the news that someone has been executed for the crime of protesting. How would you feel? It breaks your heart. That has happened to me and millions of other Iranians for 40 years. This time, it was Navid Afkari who was executed. He was just 27 years old, a wrestling champion who was arrested for taking part in the 2018 protest against the Islamic Republic. He was charged with waging war against God. Navid was tortured and forced to do false confession against himself. His two brothers were also arrested and also forced to give false testimony against Navid. He was secretly tried and given a death sentence. Human rights group said that evidence against Navid was invalid. The evidence obtained through torture. It didn't matter because his life didn't matter to the Islamic Republic. The regime didn't even allow Navid to have a final meeting with his family. After his execution, the security forces demanded that Navid must be buried within hours. That same night, he was taken to his village and put underground without ceremony. This dark turn events happening to Navid and his family because he had taken part in a peaceful protest. These days, every time when we turn on the TV, what we see? Just protests everywhere. In America, in Europe, in Hong Kong, in Lebanon. People bravely face tear gas and police charges. But in my country, Iran, when young people protest, then they face guns and bullets. And as you see, if they get arrested, then they could face the death penalty. That's because in the Islamic Republic of Iran, protests are not allowed. The regime argues that its opponents are resisting God's will, so they deserve to be killed. Navid was not the only one to be hanged for the crime of protesting. Mustafa Salehi, father of 2 children, was hanged also for the crime of protesting against the regime, and 3 more. There are more. Let's say their names. Amir Hossein, Mohammad, Saeed, Abbas, Majid, Hadi, Mehdi, Mohammad Bastami. The jails are full of activists who are resisting this dictatorship. Women's rights activists are in prison. Political activists, those who said no to Islamic Republic, right now they are in prison. Workers and teachers, members of Baha'is faith, environmental activists, they are in prison. Even the lawyers defending these activists are in prison. But do you think we, the activists outside Iran, are safe? No. We receive daily death threats, and they take our families hostage inside Iran to punish us, who give voice to voiceless people inside Iran. It is the working class. It is the working class protests that face the death row. The revolution was supposed to help them. Instead, the regime is killing them to terrorize the rest of the population and prevent another massive uprising like the ones that we had 2 years ago in last November. These protesters want to be happy. They just want jobs. They want a decent and normal life. That is why the civil society was galvanized to stop the hangings. The hashtag Stop Execution went viral and it was tweeted more than 12 million times. Despite the massive outcry, the regime still murdered Navid Afkari. I am worried. Yes, millions of Iranians are worried that we will wake up another morning and see others on the death row have been executed as well. Now, we need a global call to action. That's why after Navid's murder, I and many other activists have called for a ban on Islamic Republic international sports. That's it. The Islamic Republic violates the spirit of sports, abuses the athletes, and discriminates against its own people for ideological reasons. Women are banned from attending sports events. Athletes are ordered to purposely lose in competitions to avoid facing their Israeli counterparts. Today, more and more Iranians do not want to be part of an ideology that has created such a tyranny. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook remove the photos and footages of public executions as sensitive, but allow the officials of dictatorships to post their lies and denials on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Ironically, Facebook and Twitter are banned for Iranian ordinary citizens, but government officials have verified accounts. This is the right time for tech companies. I am talking to you, Jack. I'm talking to you, Mark Zuckerberg, to stand up to dictatorships and kick out officials that enforce censorship and executions from their platforms. It's time for the international community to stand up for human rights values. Here, I call on the European Union to support Iranian people and suspend their meetings with the officials who actually carry out the executions. I call on you to support the people in Iran who are saying no to hostage-taking, to torture and executions. History will judge you.